If you go searching for the latest news on Deebo Samuel and his situation with the San Francisco 49ers, there is none. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. No news is good news, as they sometimes say. Samuel watched a number of fellow wideouts smash the offseason market with mega deals, but with the Niners showing little to no urgency to get a deal done, he requested a trade. Now, Samuel wasn't at OTAs, but he did attend mandatory minicamp, but he did not participate. In terms of average annual value, this is a list that Deebo wants to be on. He wants to be in that top 5, the upper tier of this list, if you will. Right now, his AAV is $1.9 million as he enters the final year of his rookie deal. Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown switching teams, getting lucrative new deals to do so. Tyreek top of that list at $30 million. No one seems overly concerned, though, and the 49ers still appear confident that a deal will get done. For more on the Samuel situation, let's welcome back lead NFL insider Jonathan Jones and our two-time Super Bowl champion Bryant McFadden. Obviously, just having Deebo in the building for mandatory minicamp is a good thing in terms of talking. So, JJ, why is radio silence from the Deebo camp a good thing?
Well, I mean, go back a couple of months, and Deebo Samuel was doing the whole social media thing that these guys do nowadays, where you strip your social media accounts of all references to the team under that you're employed by, and then when you consider it, nothing has been said lately, and I think that's a good thing that he shows up to the OTAs, the off-season work, even if he doesn't really participate. And honestly, and the folks that I've spoken to around the league, no one ever really thought that he was going to get dealt in the first place. I know there was a lot of hubbub around the NFL draft about a potential deal. One was never seriously close, really close at all, even if the New York Jets wanted it to be close. And so when I view this Deebo Samuel situation, when I ask around to folks around the league, I had one league source tell me that they had heard the 49ers were poking around with some of these teams that have wide receivers coming up on deals, asking about how they would be structuring the deals, trying to get a gauge on the market. And so I took that as a good sign for Deebo remaining in San Francisco, and then just simply the point of where we are on the calendar. A deal is very likely not going to get done at this point. A deal trading Deebo Samuel out of San Francisco is very likely not going to be done at this point. He's not showing up to nightclubs and having signs saying Deebo stay with the 49ers and him being like, you got to cut that out. So if I had to place a bet on this, I absolutely believe, as I have believed, that Deebo Samuel will remain a 49er for years to come.
And the 49ers, a team that usually like to get their deals done over the course of the summertime. So it doesn't mean that a deal won't certainly get done. B-Mac, how confident are you that these two sides will come to an agreement?
I'm very, very confident. I mean, he's deserving of every dollar he's asking for. Super important for their offense, super important for their organization. He's a fan favorite. He does a lot in the community. Everyone loves Deebo. Even if you hate the 49ers, you love how he goes about his business in between the lines. He is a football player that happens to play the wide receiver position. And because of that, he has created lengthy leverage for himself when it comes to negotiating this huge deal that he should be receiving sooner than later. So me personally, I think a deal will get done. They have to find a way to pay him because he is probably their most valuable player on the offensive side, especially when you look at the versatility he displays week in and week out.
B-Mac, I mean, they went 10-7 last year, third in that NFC West. What do the Niners look like if Deebo Samuel is not part of that offense?
They're a better team with Deebo than without Deebo. I do believe even with Trey Lance, a guy that lacks experience, when you have Deebo Samuel along with Kyle Shanahan dialing up that heat, George Kittle and the crew, they're a playoff caliber team. I think right now, before any game is played, guys, I think they would be considered the second best team in their division. And that's not necessarily a knock on the San Francisco 49ers. That's more of a praise to what the Rams have been able to do and adding pieces to the puzzle as well. So with Deebo, this is a team that can make a nice run, similar to what we saw in last year's postseason play. If they don't have Deebo Samuel, I'm not quite ready to say they won't be a playoff caliber team, but the likelihood of them getting into the playoff is not as likely if they don't have Deebo Samuel in uniform.
JJ, the Niners said they weren't going to trade him if they don't get a deal done. Do you see this bleeding into the season and Samuel playing without getting the extension?
That's hard to believe, especially because he's under $2 million for this upcoming season, especially because of his usage. I don't think that it would be wise for him to go into the season without a deal. I'm not certain it would be wise for him to go into training camp without a deal, to just be quite honest. And so you mentioned to Jeremy that this is a team that really likes to obviously take care of their core players. They like to get these deals done in the summertime. I absolutely believe that a deal can be struck here in the coming weeks so that you get Deebo Samuel on the field, and you get him on the field in training camp so that spirits are high, and you get him on the field in training camp with spirits high with your new quarterback in Trey Lance, a guy who didn't get to work that much with Deebo. This is a kid, he needs reps with the ones. He needs reps, every rep he can get with George Kittle, every rep that he can possibly get with Brandon Ayuk, every rep he can get with Deebo Samuel. And I think the 49ers, from a holistic standpoint, absolutely understand and appreciate that. And so if you're the team, if you're the franchise, you have to understand that getting a deal done with Deebo is the top priority.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.